So here it is, the Glock 35 Gen 3. Got this from Jason over at JW Guns and Ammo. He's my local FFL dealer that I like doing business with. I'll put a link up for his website on the video here. Couple things about this one. It is a small frame polymer 3 pin Glock, generation 3, 5¼ inch, maybe a little bit longer barrel and slide assembly. To increase accuracy, it does have a railing system down here if you're going to use it for a tactical use. Already comes pre-assigned with a extended magazine release and extended slide release. And then this particular model comes with a 15-round magazine. They also have a 10-round magazine version as well if you're in a state that has a cap on the amount of rounds that can be in a magazine. Great out-of-the-box gun, as you saw a few moments ago, first few rounds. Firing this one at the range really didn't have any issues with firing my standard reload round for my competition, which is a Berry's plated 180 grain bullet, and that's in once-fired brass with 4 grains of unique powder and a CCI 500 small pistol primer. I had 2 failure to ejects, 1 failure to feed, and 1 double feed. And that was early on in the shooting session, and I think that was most likely just due to being unfamiliar with this particular gun. You may have heard some people talking about how Glocks are finicky with how you hold the gun and whether you're going to limp wrist it or not. Ended up putting about 250 rounds through it. Really didn't have any issues. Great accuracy on this. The sight radius, being a full 5¼ inches long, great sight radius. Couple of great features about this particular weapon. Before we talk about that, I just want to show you, as with anything that we're going to work on this channel, if I'm working on a firearm, there's no live ammunition on the table. In fact, it's all locked up in my ammo box. And the weapon, we've obviously cleared the magazine, you saw that. We're going to clear the slide, and we're going to show, we're going to look in here 3 times, make sure there's no ammo in it, point it in the safe direction, pull the trigger. Alright, a couple of key features, great features on it. It's already got a recessed and barrel, or a slide assembly, for if you would like to run a ported barrel on this. Glocks come standard with a 5½ pound trigger, they say. If you actually measured it out, it's really more like 6.5 on some of the models. Overall, very happy with it in its standard configuration. But when you start talking about making it a limited gun, and even to an open gun, there are several things that you want to consider doing. When I was firing it first, one of the first things I noticed is that this particular extended magazine release, very sharp corners, sharp edges. We will be changing it eventually to a full extended with a button. Not sure what kind of button I'm going to go with. There's a lot of options for Glocks. That's another reason this is a great weapon to start modifying into a limited or a open class weapon. But at the present time, we're just going to modify the existing button, and that's going to come later in a different video when we start talking about different things to do to the grip to aid in performance. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to take the gun down, and we're going to talk about some of the things that we're going to change on this when we start doing it. First one's going to be, we're going to do a trigger job and recoil spring job. We're going to talk about that here in just a second. Taking down a Glock to get to the internals is an extremely easy process. What you're going to do is, after you've done your safety check, the trigger is in the fired position. You're going to grab the slide like this, pull the slide back about 1/4 inch, grab the slide release, pull it down, and push the slide forward. Comes right off. In this episode, we're going to focus specifically on the upper part. And what I want to really talk about is the recoil spring, because that is the first place that I found where I did not feel comfortable with stock. Why do I not feel comfortable with stock? Because the guide rod is made out of the same component as the polymer frame, which, while the frame is strong and durable and the guide rod has very little give, we are still talking about a mechanism that can fail. Plastic cracks, plastic breaks. That's not to say that steel doesn't either, but it's not as easy or as likely. So the first modification that we're going to do in this project is we are going to set aside this factory guide rod. Keep it because you may need it later on, and we are going to replace that with a stainless steel version of the same, except on this we've chosen to go with a reduced recoil spring. The standard spring is a 17 to 18 pound recoil spring, because we want to reduce recoil and make the gun more manageable from muzzle flip and felt recoil. We're going to go with a 13 pound recoil spring in stainless steel. This is from Glock store. It's an extremely affordable $29.95 product, and very happy with this. You can tell that it is a 13 pound recoil spring. It is marked in red. I don't know if you can see that. Get it up there where you can see it a little bit better. Marked with red on the spring head. It is a captured, and it is stainless steel. Very durable. It does weigh a full 3 times more than the plastic factory guide rod, which, if you see them side by side, virtually identical except for the components that they're made from. So that's the first thing we're going to do. If you ever did want to buy extra springs or buy an uncaptured spring, simple Allen hex wrench will take that out after you compress the spring. To install, simply slide it in the groove there and click it forward. Now this is significantly different than the Gen 4 spring. This spring will not work in a Gen 4 gun unless you buy the proper adapter. So that's the first modification we're going to do to this project to make the Glock pistol more reliable. We're going to reassemble, push it forward, and I can already feel a difference. So that's the first modification we're going to do. Stay tuned in the next few days, few weeks, for this series on building a Glock 35 and 40 caliber Smith & Wesson from a production to a limited, and then all the way up to a full open gun. Ryan, QRF Tactical, thanks for watching.